welcome you here this evening. It is also my pleasure to introduce the Pro-Vice-Chancellor for our college, Professor Claire Robinson. Kia ora.
Thanks, Ross. Welcome everybody here today to the College of Creative Arts at Massey University. Yes, my name is Claire Robinson. I'm the Pro-Vice-Chancellor of the College of Creative Arts, which is the head of the college. There are 5 colleges at Massey University, and the College of Creative Arts is one of them. So I just want to thank you very much for coming tonight. You're very important people to us for a number of reasons, especially you art and design teachers. Firstly, you train the art and design students that come to us, and for that we are extremely grateful. But also you are some of the key influences on them, and you are the people that help them make decisions about whether to pursue an art and design career, whether it's with Massey University or with anybody else. It's you that are significant people that influence whether they choose to go to university and choose an art and design career. So you're extremely important to us and to all the other art and design institutions in New Zealand. So I'm going to talk to you today about how you can, tools that might assist you to be, when you're talking to students or their parents about why they should pursue an art and design career. And after I talk to you for about 15 minutes or 20 minutes, then I'm going to introduce Rebecca Sinclair, who's our Director of Teaching and Learning, and she's going to talk to you a bit about some changes that we've got in our programs here, and we're actually interested in a bit of feedback from you about some of the things that we've got on offer. So I've been the Pro-Vice-Chancellor here for 18 months, and before that I was the Associate Pro-Vice-Chancellor, and before that I was the head of the Institute of Communication Design, which is half of the School of Design. And before that I was a lecturer, and before that I was a student here as an adult student. And I had, my career path is one of those paths that you go on when you don't go straight to art and design school after secondary school. I went to Onslow College, and the head of art at Onslow College is here today, which is fantastic. Max Coulahan was my teacher, but in those days, in the 1970s, if you were good at art but also academically clever, you didn't go to Polytech to do art or design, you went to university. And like a good girl, I went to university and did a BA in politics and art and history, and came out of that without any further clue about what I was going to do for the rest of my life. So I headed overseas and then came back, and then went, as all good BA students do, I went into the public service. And I had a perfectly good career for 10 years. I was a diplomat, a New Zealand diplomat for 5 years, and I worked for a senior cabinet minister for a little while. But I always felt that there was something missing in my life, and that there was something creative that I wasn't quite getting out of having a career as a bureaucrat. So I started doing night classes and weekend classes and holiday classes in art and drawing, and eventually got up the courage as a 30-year-old with a 1-year-old baby to apply to come to design school, and turned up here, which I think was the best thing I ever did. I couldn't believe, compared from doing a BA to doing a Bachelor of Design, I couldn't believe that you could come and do something that was fun all day long and rewarding and challenging, but just meant that I could be creative the whole time. I found it absolutely extraordinary, and I couldn't believe that more people didn't know that this was an option. So it took me 14 years I was one of those clever kids that left school at 16. It took me 14 years to work out that you could combine something that you really enjoyed with a career. But we've been talking a lot to teachers over the last year about the issue of how you, especially with clever kids, how you persuade them that a qualification and a career in art and design is just as worthy, if not more so, as a career in commerce or medicine or law. And it's especially hard, I know, when you've got parents who think that there are well-trodden career paths that they recognise that they've been on 20, 30 years ago, that they recognise as being the way for career fulfilment or income generation. And they can't see themselves that there are good careers in art and design. So, I mean, I actually know this feeling myself. I've got a daughter who was very good at art and design from Wellington East, and she went off and did film at Victoria University. She's doing her honours degree in film. There is no career path that is laid out in front of her, but she's doing it because she loves doing it, and she's going to do well, whatever she decides to do. So I'm going to talk a bit about what the reality of the situation that faces graduates in art and design, also the future in terms of what faces graduates in art and design, and more about the context of where art and design sit in New Zealand. So in terms of jobs, there are huge numbers of jobs, and I'm going to read out a list of all the types of jobs that our graduates go off and do at the moment. So this is right now. They can go off and be graphic designers, creative and art directors, illustrators, animators, visual effects artists, web designers, games and app designers, film and video makers, sound designers, industrial designers, textile designers, fashion designers, food designers, spatial and interior designers, lighting designers, experience designers, service designers, information designers, photographers, artists, curators, gallery owners, school teachers, academics, communications, marketing and events managers, small and large business owners. So that's kind of the list of things that they can go on and do if they walked out of our doors right now. And our best students will be snapped up by employers before they even finish their 4th year. So they're constantly in touch with us about who might be ready to go out into a job. And these jobs are not going to disappear in a hurry, because we know that more and more employers are actually looking for people with skills in different thinking, creative thinking, innovative thinking. And that's all the types of qualities that people who come and do a degree in art or design get while they're at university. And we also have good evidence that they get paid quite well. So what you're seeing here is from a graduate destination survey that was done last year. Now the scale is different from each of those graphs. So on the left the BDes Ons, on the right, in the middle the BFA Ons, and on the right the BFA to compare. So you'll see that if graduates within 6 months of leaving here with a BDes Ons, just around 45% will be earning 31 to 40,000, and just under 20 already walk out to earning a job at 41 to 50. So this is within the 6 months of leaving. Fine arts is not quite as good because there aren't so many salaried jobs, and nor are there quite as many fine arts graduates. But you'll still see that 20% are earning 31 to 40 and 41 to 50. But then if you look on the right-hand chart, you'll see that even though it looks like there's slightly more in the BA, but they're not. So less than 25% of graduates with a BA are earning 31 to 40, and less than 25 are earning 41 to 50. So there's no evidence to show that if you walk out of here with an art or design qualification, you are any less likely to get a good salary upon leaving. In fact, there's probably some evidence here to show that you're going to get a better salary upon leaving within 6 months than you would have if you've got a BA. And that's whether you're walking out with a BFA or a BDes. So the other thing was, we know that, because we keep in touch with them, that our graduates also get really good jobs overseas. I'm going to show you a video of Matt Holmes. Now Matt Holmes I have to say, he is one of our stars, but he walked out of here with a diploma from the Wellington Polytech in industrial design. But this is an example of how far someone can go with a diploma in industrial design. So it might take a little bit to get this going, but...
That's what I always did as a kid. I was always pulling things to bits, making things, whether it was go-karts and bikes, and I saw a classified advert for a pair of Nikes, which we couldn't get in Nelson. I went round to their house and they fit me. I bought them. I walked out the gate of the house and saw this amazing silver car went past. Someone designs these things. Like, who designs these things? What is design, And I went to school the next day and told my my art teacher, and he's like, that's industrial design. That's my job. That's what I got to go do. Oh, this was a shoe. It was many years in the making, and the whole concept was we were spending a lot of time trying to get rid of our waste. So every pair of shoes you make, there was about one shoe that was left over in waste. And we're like, how can we fix this? How can we do something with it? So we were creating new shoes out of the waste. And then we decided, there must be a better way. It's 16 fibers of polyester that go into the shoe, completely make the shoe. There's nothing left, there's no waste. So it's completely sustainable. All the threads we use are polyester, so you can recycle them. We have incredibly broad skills that this university taught. And I think that's what gave us the advantage, which is great. It comes down to passion. If you love making stuff, and I think the other thing is if you can solve problems, if you're a problem solver and you like making things, this is the job. And that's the most amazing thing about design is when you solve a problem for somebody, it's just amazing to watch them use that product and it solves their problem and they just are delighted by it. And that's the fascinating thing to me about design. It's so exciting to see the changes you make for other people. The doors are open.
So obviously that's a bit of a promo video for us, but it does highlight how the types of skills that we can walk out of as New Zealand designers and walk into somewhere like Nike. I mean, he's been there for a long time and he is one of the most senior designers on the Nike design team. But this is only half the story, so I think there's a little bit more of an exciting story when you think about the jobs that don't actually exist at the moment. So the pace of technological and change and innovation is so rapid at the moment, excuse me, I'm losing my voice, that we are right at the beginning of some sort of profound global shift which is impacting on the ways that people generate income and generate value. So just now there's a confluence that we can see happening at the moment where you might have technological forces like 3D printing coming together with online social media and online retailing, all coming together to mean that any designer can now design just about anything, any product, short-range product line, create it in a lab. I mean, and if you come along, we can show you our Fab Lab, which is the facilities that any designer can create just about anything in. You can sell it online, direct to your customers, without the need to be employed by a large manufacturing firm, and you can generate your own income. There is absolutely no reason for anybody to be unemployed as a designer anymore because the opportunities for making and selling and earning income from that are just at our doorsteps. So for people to see opportunities in this, it's a truly, truly exciting moment. And the truth is, in this type of environment, we don't know where the careers are. We don't know where the jobs are going to be in 5 years' time. We don't, because the designers that are coming out now, the artists that are going to come out now are going to create their own jobs. They're going to create their own careers. They have to design them. And we think it's our job to prepare them for this, to design their own future and design their own careers. So I'm going to give you a few examples of people that have been through our programs who have designed careers, industries, and also global phenomena. So the first one, this is Catherine Wilson. She was speaking at our graduation ceremony recently. She graduated in 2001. She's New Zealand's first high fashion footwear designer. I'm wearing her boots now. Solidarity. So this wasn't even an industry that existed before she created it. She had a passion for designing shoes, a bit like Matt when he came in here. And she was laughed at by people saying, well, you can't have a career as a shoewear designer because there is no New Zealand high fashion shoewear industry, footwear industry. But she didn't let that stop her from going ahead and being the first high fashion label in New Zealand footwear. She just did it, and she's doing incredibly well. So she's selling to more than 100 stores across New Zealand and Australia, and that's within 10 years of leaving design school. So we had her recently at our graduation ceremony, and in her advice, and she talked about meeting Jimmy Choo, which had been her lifelong ambition, and there she was, being able to stand next to him and talk to him about shoe design. And her advice was, choose a job you love and you'll never have to work a day in your life. So she's a great example of someone who actually designed her own future. These are people in our Hall of Fame. So every year we recognise 3 to 4 people who have made a significant impact on New Zealand through art and design. I'm not going to go through all the names now. But up here, just second up from the bottom, is somebody you will recognise. So that's Richard Taylor. And he has only ever had one graphic design job, and it lasted 6 weeks. So when he left here, he went and became a jigsaw puzzle designer for 6 weeks and found it so boring that he took the next offer, which was to work for a chef and he got Richard to design butter sculptures. This was in the 80s when butter sculptures were really big. So Richard would go into restaurants and design these large butter sculptures, but you know, most people will design swans, but Richard designed gargoyles and monsters and all sorts of things. And then he went on, through that, he started model making and went on to do Spitting Image with the Gibson Group and met Peter Jackson, and the rest is history. But when he left home, and he comes from a small country town south of Pukekohe, neither he nor his farming family had any idea that this man was going to, you know, win Academy and BAFTA awards for his films, set up the movie industry in New Zealand, a blockbuster movie industry, and employ thousands of people in Wellington. You know, if you were a parent saying, oh, Richard, you know, I'm not sure what your future's going to hold, nobody knew that. But he was armed with passion and a serious ability, and he went off and did it. Oops. And the other guy that I want to talk about is the one bottom right. So none of you will recognise him. And his name is Danny Costa, and he is part of the Apple design team that created the iPhone and the iPad and the iPod and anything else that begins with I. And he has over 500 patents to his name on Apple products. And when he went to work for Apple a few years out of design school, they were then just an innovative computer company. But he had no idea, nor did his teachers, nor his parents, that he was going to help create a global communication phenomenon. So not only did he design his future, but he designed basically all our futures through that process. So he, again, it took faith and skill and confidence to walk up to Apple, but he's there. He's a New Zealand kid who was just an ordinary kid from a regional part of New Zealand who went and did a diploma in those days at Wellington Polytech, and he's just been a phenomenon. Now, you don't hear much about him because the Apple design team is a team, so they don't single out anybody for special attention. But I think that what you see is that, I think, and the important message for you to take back to parents and to kids is that, of course, we can't tell anybody what they're going to design in the future because it doesn't exist. But they are certainly, if they're going to go out and do art or design in any school in New Zealand, they're going to be able to just do exactly what Danny or Matt or Catherine or Richard have done. And I think that the best thing that we as art and design educators, so that's you as teachers and us as academic lecturers and teachers, is to be thinking that what we need to do for New Zealand is to create 20 more Richards and Dannys and Catherines and Matts. That is our job. I mean, you know, think what New Zealand will be like if those guys were staying and putting their efforts into creating something amazing in New Zealand. So what we have done, what we're doing here at Massey is we've got a project going at the moment which we're titling the Value of Design Project, that we are working to raise the profile of design in the government's mind, because at the moment the government supports design basically through support for tertiary students, support for a program in an NZTE called Better by Design, which is aimed at the top exporting companies. and is also, and they will support design through procurement, through the public services. But what we want them to do is actually pay a little bit more attention in terms of policy and strategy and investment funding into design, so that firms, businesses, the public sector can be actually benefiting more greatly from what design has to offer. And we know from international evidence and research that companies and countries that invest more in design have greater returns in terms of economic and social and cultural prosperity. So we're trying to get the government thinking about that, and we're marshalling the resources of businesses and local governments and other tertiary institutes in this program. And I think it's working. I mean, there's a lot of interest in government circles to our message, and the Minister of everything, Stephen Joyce, is right on board with it. So we need, so we're going to see interesting things happening in this space in the next few years, and what that will end up meaning is that there are even more jobs and more opportunities available for people who have creative education to be able to contribute to this sort of environment. And so successful has this project been that we're moving into another one called the Value of Art project, which is looking at the contribution of art in terms of its economic and social and cultural and spiritual values to the well-being of everybody in New Zealand. So I think my message to you is that there has really never been a better time to study art or design in New Zealand, and somehow we've got to get that message through to parents, and I mean, we're really interested in what you have to think about that. This is just a bit of a plug for everything that's great about us, should you choose to send your students to us. But I think the point is that, you know, universities, whether it's Massey University or AUT, which is the next biggest design and art school in New Zealand, are really behind all of these initiatives. And so, you know, we get money poured into buildings like this. We get given opportunities that we wouldn't ordinarily get, because universities see design and innovation as absolutely the way of the future. So, you know, we're really keen on you coming along on this ride with us. We've got a festival coming up in a few months' time that you might want to bring your students to have a look at the work of the next graduates coming through. But as I said, anything that we can do to help you persuade your students and the parents of your students that an art and design career is a good idea, we're very happy to talk to you. Okay, that's my bit. I think we've got a bit of time for questions if anyone has any now, or there are lots of staff who are floating around that you can